This girl is only 1 month old, but she looks like a teenager. It turns out she's a new human with alien genes. Because she's very beautiful, the doctor named her Shimei. But such a cute girl now has to face a fate of being poisoned to death. The one who made this decision was her creator, Dr. Baldhead. It turns out that since 1974, the US has continued using radio antennas to reveal Earth's location to the entire universe, including human DNA and Earth's total population. The purpose was to search for intelligent extraterrestrial life. Until 1993, the US received a message from space. The message contained 2 parts. The first is to encourage people to use methane gas to create an endless source of energy. The second message is a set of DNA sequences sent by an alien flame, containing methods to reorganize life, guiding humans to combine their own DNA with it, thereby creating new humans with alien genes. Dr. Baldhead is in charge of the entire project, and successfully nurtured an entirely new species. And Shimei is the human genetic recombination. The extraterrestrial product was created. But what was unexpected is, Shimei's growth process was truly astonishing. It only took 1 month for the little girl to look like this. One night, the doctor observed inside her body, there was an unknown and terrifying presence. As she grows up, she might become difficult to control. The leadership above was a bit concerned, so the research team was ordered to terminate the experiment. They used toxic gas to dispose of the girl. Even though the doctor's eyes were full of compassion, Shimei had to be eliminated. At the moment the toxic gas was injected, Shimei, who was harmless to humans and animals, sensed the danger. The will to survive made her tiny universe explode in an instant. A punch shattered the glass window. She leaped out from inside. The toxic gas in the test cabin caused the staff to collapse one by one, but Shimei miraculously escaped death. Dr. Baldhead suddenly sensed something was wrong and urgently sent someone to track her down. If left unchecked, it would surely bring an unimaginable disaster to human society. Although the security personnel were quickly dispatched, Shimei, who possesses strong skills, climbed over the fence and escaped from the base. The doctor sent tens of thousands of people to chase after her, but they were one step too late. Shimei evaded the aerial helicopter search, quickly jumping onto a passing train. Consider it as saving a life. At the same time, she could also sleep for a while. But she was awakened by a terrible nightmare. A homeless man saw the beautiful Shimei and intentionally tried to harm her. Frightened, Shimei pushed him away with one hand. He was instantly logged out of this world. His spine was also broken. On the way through a small town, the train arrived at the station. Shimei saw no one chasing her anymore, so she jumped off the train. She had never been exposed to the outside world. Curious about everything here, she learned quickly, casually took a piece of luggage, and boarded another passenger train. Then leave this station. Besides having strength, Shimei also relies on her keen observational skills, and a small TV in her luggage, general understanding of the rules of human society. When she arrived at the dining car, the cashier was absent. She easily opened the register with her bare hands, and took some cash. Then she went back to the kitchen to get some useful items and food. Afterward, she returned to her seat. She took a banana out of her bag. She directly bit into it without peeling the skin. At this moment, the doctor discovered that the homeless man was killed by Shimei. He worried that the secret of the experiment would be exposed to the outside world. Dr. Shimei didn't have the authority to stop the train. He could only send people to each train station. A hunt has begun. Shimei is asleep and begins having nightmares again. She's being chased by a mutated train. After waking up for a while, she quickly grabs the food in front of her to calm the shock. But her hunger grows even stronger. So she starts to continue replenishing her energy, and the differences become more and more apparent. This overwhelmed Shimei with fear. It seemed like something inside her was eager to break free. Soon, countless tentacles extended from her body, trapping her in a corner. Gradually, her entire body was enveloped by the tentacles, in preparation for the next stage of evolution. The noise was so loud it caught the attention of the train attendant. When the flight attendant walked in to check, she saw something she shouldn't have seen. A giant cocoon swallowed her instantly, with an energy boost from the elder sister. Not long after, Shimei completed the evolution process and emerged from the cocoon. She seemed to have grown significantly. Meanwhile, the bald doctor was also very busy, quickly assembling a team of experts in the field. A strong man, skilled at handling crises. A psychic named Ryan. A personal anthropologist, Dr. Bill Lee. a molecular biologist with short hair. The four were invited to help hunt down the alien Shimei, who had escaped. After the doctor introduced them to Shimei's origins, he showed a live video of the tragic death of a homeless man. Shimei's abilities are more terrifying than imagined. Her existence is like a ticking time bomb. He hopes that the four of them can find Shimei as soon as possible and eliminate her. But no one knows that Shimei has transformed into Damei. She transformed into a fair-skinned, long-legged beauty. At the station exit, every girl around 10 years old was stopped for inspection. Damei relied on her changed appearance and the train attendant's uniform to smoothly pass the station's inspection. She left the station with a swagger, walking through the bustling streets. She was curious about everything around her. The doctor and others arrived at the crime scene. The train attendant tragically died, and they extracted Shimei's DNA at the scene. They learned that Shimei had reached adulthood, but they didn't have an up-to-date portrait of Damei. So, there's no way to go looking for her. Luckily, they got hold of the train attendant's credit card. The beauty of the body completed its second transformation. The biological instincts in the body began to awaken. She walked into a clothing store, changed the uniform into a lace dress, beautified herself with the stolen money. When she saw the secretary's big belly, Damei always felt like something was missing inside her. Then, she walked down the street like a real person. The only inconvenience was that she was too tall. She saw the blue eyes of the man in the wheelchair, and then those who were walking down the street. She turned around and saw a pregnant woman and a child shopping by the roadside. Her body's functions were improving day by day. Damei's maternal instincts were being activated. The corners of her mouth suddenly curved into a smile. She looked for a hotel to stay in for the night. Based on various human actions shown on TV, she found herself attracted. The instinct to reproduce foreign genes in her body made her yearn for a man to fulfill the task of reproduction. Everything was ready. Damei asks the hotel owner where she can find men. The owner tells her a slender blonde with long legs like hers could go to the bar next door. Before leaving, she paid for the room with the train attendant's credit card. This quickly informed the doctors, and they pinpointed her location. And Damei, with her beautiful appearance and long legs, doesn't need to queue to get into nightclubs. If she wants to find a man, it only takes a few minutes. But who could have guessed that beneath this gorgeous skin lies an inconsistent body? Finally, she set her sights on a man. But before she could make a move, the green tea got there first. Her flirting process was interrupted. She was very upset. Followed the green tea into the bathroom. Took advantage of the moment she wasn't paying attention. One move made the green tea log out. Finally, her anger was soothed. At this point, the doctor quickly led the group to the hotel. According to the surveillance video provided by the owner, they discovered that Shimei had now turned into a blonde girl. The boss suggested they go to a nearby bar. Maybe they could find her there and take the tape with them. Everyone quickly headed to the bar. This woman really wanted to have a child, so she went to a bar and stripped, showing off her seductive figure, and randomly picked a lucky male guest. The man in front of her couldn't resist the temptation. He was eager to take her back to his place. Eric's heart was filled with joy. He had no idea he was bringing home a ticking time bomb. He liked to be very clean. He didn't forget to take a hot shower first. The handsome guy with an 8-pack was showering, stirring a strong feeling of desire in Damei. In the bar, the beautiful woman discovered a body. Dr. Baldhead and the others quickly drove to the bar as well, but they were still one step behind. The tragic death of the woman made them realize the seriousness of the situation. Based on clues provided by the bar, they learned that Eric had already taken the target they were searching for. After taking a shower, Eric asked Damei to take off her clothes. Damei did not refuse. But when Eric's hand touched her cheek, Damei's expression suddenly changed. She felt that something was wrong, and refused to take the next step. "Can you take me back, please? That's ridiculous. There's no reason to leave now." Of course, Eric wouldn't let the prey slip away. Grabbing Damei's hair, he demanded she obey him. But Damei wasn't afraid at all. She even smiled seductively. Seeing that Eric had a death wish, Damei delivered a merciless, killing blow. Taking advantage of the night, Baldhead led his men to break into Eric's house. Baldhead had a feeling something was about to go down, and guessed that this time, Damei would still escape. Sure enough, when they arrived at the scene, all they saw was a cold body lying on the ground. After taking a bath, Damei had escaped. But it wasn't without new discoveries. The short-haired biologist girl analyzed the scene. Damei chose men and went home with them to reproduce. Mice can sense when their mates are sick, or if there's a genetic disorder. They will choose a healthy partner for reproduction. Damii, whose DNA has been modified, might also have this ability. Indeed, they found evidence in the trash. It turns out the victim was a diabetic patient. It's clear that Damii knew that. Eric's physical condition didn't meet her requirements. She only temporarily changed her mind. When threatened or obstructed, she will kill the opponent. Anthropologist Bill Lee is very worried. It seems that Damii is a seed deliberately spread by an alien civilization. Once the United States breeds the alien creature, then 1 becomes 10, 10 becomes 100. The consequences will be catastrophic. At this moment, Damii drives Eric's car, wandering on the beach to hunt for prey. Because Damii's life cycle is very short, she has to, within a limited time, find someone fit for breeding. But she couldn't find a healthy man. She drove until her car ran out of gas, then stepped out with a frustrated look. Very quickly, Damii was drawn to a skateboarder. Her eyes lit up as she looked at him. But because she was so focused on him, she was accidentally hit by a speeding car. She was thrown far away. At this moment, a second man walking by saw it. He noticed she was very beautiful. Not only did he take the unconscious Damii to the hospital for treatment, but he also paid for her medical expenses. But he didn't know that he had reached a dead end. He was about to have bad luck. But before the doctor could perform the surgery, Damii had already recovered. The broken shoulder and foot bones healed quickly. The doctors around were all stunned. Her beautiful body returned to normal. She walked away to the doctor's surprise. Because she was eager to reproduce, she didn't want to waste time. She went out to the lobby and met Riki, who had been waiting for her for a long time. Riki was surprised to see her walk out unharmed. He was very surprised. And Damii had also set her eyes on him. A handsome guy with good looks and health. The two quickly held hands and went to Riki's house. The doctor and the others found the car that Damii had abandoned. But there was no news about Damii. At that moment, a report came in from the subordinates. They said something strange happened at the hospital. A woman with the ability to heal herself appeared. David and the short-haired girl immediately went to the hospital. From the hospital reception, they learned that the person who paid the bill was named Riki. Without saying anything more, they immediately drove to Riki's house. After the two quickly finished their dinner, it seems Damii has decided that Riki will be the one to mate with her tonight. So she quickly gets straight to the point with him. At this moment, David and the short-haired girl have arrived at Riki's house. Damii, with her sharp senses, immediately notices them. She wants the mating task to be completed quickly. So she told Riki that she wants to have a child. That's ridiculous. Riki immediately refuses. In Damii's mind, anyone who refuses to cooperate, anyone who hinders the mating will be killed by her. At this moment, Damii has fully transformed, revealing her true form. She kills Riki, who is struggling. David and the short-haired girl sense that something is wrong. They rush in with weapons in hand. When they got to the pool, they found Riki's body was still warm. They knew the culprit might not have escaped yet. David looked at the short-haired woman. Both of them went into the garden to search for Damii. But they still couldn't find anything. In fact, Damii hadn't escaped. Instead, she hid in the woods to watch them. Afterward, everyone investigated the scene. They discovered that Damii showed no signs of successful mating. They might have arrived just in time to stop her in time. So Damii is still not pregnant. They will still have to continue searching. They must get there before a third male appears. To eliminate this monster, they continued searching while transporting the victim's body. But they didn't know, Damii drove back here to observe the situation. And by interpreting the doctor's words, she learned about their next plan. And it seems she has her eyes on David, considering choosing him as the third male guest. When dreaming, Damii's mind was filled with images of David's strong body, seeing that David is her destined partner. But now the doctor's team is always chasing Damii. This makes her very displeased, realizing that this is not the way to go. To escape the doctor's team's pursuit, Damii has a plan in mind. In the blink of an eye, a woman is kidnapped. To better hide her whereabouts, started making a plan. She found a yellow pair of pliers in the drawer. Then she started cutting herself in front of that woman. She cut off her own thumb, doing things no one could have imagined. These scientists, with nothing better to do, inserted a needle into an egg, injected foreign genes into a human egg cell. It's surprising. The cells reacted immediately and started dividing. Psychic Ryan sensed that something was wrong. Just as the short-haired girl and David were inspecting the test cabin, The tissue cells began multiplying rapidly. Only a few minutes passed. The slide was torn by the cells. The doctor saw the danger. They were asked to quickly close the door. But just as they shut it, in their panic, they dropped the latch on the ground. It fell straight through the floor hole. They hurriedly bent down to search, only to find the iron floor welded together. At this moment, the cells in the glass container had doubled in size to that of a ball. It's still constantly moving. You can see that thing is still growing. David pulls the short-haired girl and prepares to leave the lab. Quickly, open the door. I want to know what's inside, open it up. Letting them out is absolutely impossible. While a few of them are arguing, the things inside the glass cabin are still multiplying rapidly. Witnessing the experiment's failure, the doctor, to prevent the spread of these creatures, refuses to open the door for the two to leave. David anxiously grabs a chair and smashes it against the glass, shouting for the people outside to let them out. Meanwhile, the cell sample is mutating wildly, transforming into a strange alien creature. David has no choice but to step forward and press the lid down. The short-haired girl quickly moved to another door to hide. Seeing that thing about to burst out of the cabin, David immediately pressed the button to burn it. However, the alien had already crushed the cabin, climbing onto the glass to escape the lab. Seeing the situation worsening, to prevent the alien from escaping the lab cabin, the doctor decided to destroy the lab cabin within 2 minutes. David cut the air duct from the inside. He used it to spray fire and tried to burn the monster. The monster now had the ability to crawl. It started running around the lab like a rat. David was very angry. He immediately pulled the duct down and struck hard at the monster's tentacles, stabbing the monster with force. The monster gradually disappeared. Everyone finally breathed a sigh of relief. After thinking for a moment, the doctor was about to open the door and let them out. Oh no, it's alive again. Witnessing this horrific scene, the two suddenly felt a chill in their hearts. The lab would catch fire in less than 30 seconds. But the doctor still refused to open the door. According to the testing procedure, if any incident occurs during the experiment, everything will be destroyed. The anxious crowd ignored the doctor's objections and directly flipped the switch. They saved 2 people in the final seconds. Then the combustion process started in the experiment cabin. The monster was finally destroyed. The result made the doctor shudder. Because besides the incomplete alien creature earlier, there is also a fully grown body with extraordinary strength. It can change its appearance at any time to escape human pursuit, facilitating the reproduction of its heir. Damii kidnapped a woman as a sacrificial offering, then gritted her teeth. She just had to cut off her thumb and throw it into a bag. But in the next second, her finger grew back at an incredible speed. The woman was terrified. But Damii didn't care at all. He ruthlessly cut off the woman's finger and threw it in the trash, then drove to the suburbs. After picking the crime scene, go to the gas station and buy a few cans of gasoline. Everything is ready. That night, go back to the bar where the doctor team is guarding. Start your own plan. First, lure the psychic Ryan outside. Then Damii appears in front of Ryan, intentionally revealing her whereabouts. Ryan immediately recognizes that she is Damii. Quickly call the team to chase them. Damii carried the woman and drove away quickly. Everyone didn't think much and continued to chase them. Dr. Baldhead also deployed a military helicopter to pursue. Damii transformed the car. She drove chaotically with the woman and the fuel-filled car, pretending there was no way to escape. She then intentionally drove the car down a steep slope. David immediately stopped chasing from behind. Before the car crashed into the transformer box at the hillside, Damii jumped out of the car and walked away. The poor woman and the fuel-filled car crashed into the transformer box. A violent explosion occurred, and the woman sitting in the car became a replacement for Damii. Both Davids witnessed this scene. To ensure better results, the helicopter also fired numerous missiles. The scene was engulfed in flames. With such high temperatures, no evidence remained. When Dr. Baldhead arrived, a burnt part of Damii's finger was found at the scene. Through DNA comparison, the evidence confirmed that Damii was dead. The prolonged hunt has exhausted the patience of the team members. Everyone returned to the bar to celebrate the successful mission. Everything seemed too smooth. Only David and Ryan remained anxious. They sensed something was wrong. They had no idea that Damii had changed her appearance. She dyed her hair black. From a blonde girl to an elegant lady. She took the opportunity to get close to David in the elevator. David is not only strong but also very intelligent. She chose him as her ideal breeding partner. Unfortunately, David is not the type to act on impulse. After getting out of the elevator, he casually walked straight into the short-haired girl's room. The two of them had spent many days together and developed feelings. Now is the moment for things to explode. Damien followed the person to the door. Unexpectedly, the short-haired girl snatched the opportunity. Hearing loud noises in the room, Damien felt uneasy and anxious. She still didn't give up. She sneaked into the next room, planning to find the right moment to act. Unexpectedly, this room belonged to Bill Lee. Bill Lee is flirting with a girl at the bar. Unfortunately, she rejects him. He can only dejectedly return to his room to rest. At this moment, the conflicting instincts in Damien's body start to stir. Just then, the doctor appears behind her. So she considers this as fate. As long as it's a man, she's fine with it. She has such a beautiful and hot body. Of course, ordinary people can't resist. Bill Lee was lucky to be the third male guest. 3 seconds later, Damien suddenly felt like she was pregnant. Bill Lee, unfortunately, was no longer of any use. Before dying, he experienced the joy of becoming a father. Psychic Ryan felt something was off with this hotel. He always feels that Damien is here. Then he quickly went to see Bill Lee. As a result, he sensed that Damien was in this room. Ryan immediately rushed to wake David up, telling him that Damien isn't dead yet. She's still in Bill Lee's room right now. When they reached the door of Bill Lee's room, but it was already too late. Damien just phased through the wall and escaped. If she gets away, the consequences will be catastrophic. They armed themselves and gave chase with all their might. Damien turned into a monster and passed through the thick steel door. Escaping into the tunnel, everyone quickly grabbed weapons with strong firepower and pursued her, chased all the way to the dark sewer. The terrain inside is complex. Ryan's supernatural sixth sense temporarily couldn't pinpoint the enemy's exact location. The four had to split up. Dr. Baldhead was the first to spot Damien's tracks. Just as he was about to shoot, Damien took him down, pulled him underwater and killed him. The three of them heard the noise and immediately ran towards it. But it was too late. Now, they no longer dare to separate. They take advantage of the dim light in the sewer. The sound of Damien jumping into the water frightened everyone. The three of them didn't dare to look back and kept moving forward. Taking advantage of the chaos, Damien hid deep underground and began to give birth. At this moment, she was no longer a seductive Damien. Instead, she turned into a complete monster. Ryan is simply just a human, tracking Damien's whereabouts once again through telepathy. She's in a cave created by the earthquake. David is exploring the path ahead with a flamethrower, continuing to search deep into the cracks. Unexpectedly, this crack leads to a massive cave. It was filled with flammable oil. At this time, Damien had given birth to a baby boy. The boy's growth rate was clearly much faster than Damien's. When he saw a mouse, he directly opened his mouth and swallowed it whole. The taste was delicious. When Ryan discovered the boy even wanted to eat Ryan too. Because of carrying alien genes, the boy began to evolve into a small alien, rushing toward Ryan with a twisted body. Unfortunately, he was just born, with little combat experience. He was quickly burned to death by Ryan's flamethrower, falling into the oil pit below. Witnessing the child struggle to be conceived for several minutes. Now in less than 3 seconds, he turned into charcoal. Mutant Damien suddenly went berserk. She stuck out her tongue and wrapped it around David's neck, lifting him into the air. She tried to strangle him to death. Luckily, David always carries a dagger with him. He used it to cut Damien's tongue and managed to escape. Damien, who had lost her tongue, became furious and chose to attack from the front. Didn't expect you to be caught off guard by David, who was fully prepared. He fired multiple shots, and Damien burst into flames, falling into the oil pit. They saw Ryan hanging off the cliffside. David and the short-haired girl struggled to pull him up. But suddenly, Damien, desperately thrashing, grabbed hold of him. Seeing this, David reloaded his gun with his left hand and sent the monster back to where it belonged. Go to hell, you monster. Ryan was successfully rescued. However, the crisis hasn't truly ended. Shortly after everyone left, Damien's tongue was pulled away by a rat. After a lavish meal, the rat's body suddenly transformed. Clearly, the strong genes of the alien species continued to manifest in the small rat. The story ends here. This alien movie was released in 1995. It originates from an encrypted message in alien DNA. Pay attention to the radio signals sent into space. They could bring threats. Extraterrestrial civilizations must be handled with caution. Many people don't think so. But this movie makes it very clear. The possibility that this threat exists.